So tonight's presentation is titled Travel Photography, featuring birds of Costa Rica. And our speaker is another one of our members, Seraphina. Seraphina earned her Master of Arts degree in photography from San Francisco State University and a Bachelor of Arts from University of California. She also holds degrees as both Master Photographer and Photographic Craftsman from the Professional Photographers of America, or known as PPA. Seraphina is an internationally acclaimed photographic artist and educator who has taught photography internationally. Her classical and romantic style has won her the hearts of photographers and patrons around the world. Even ever the adventurer, she also leads and instructs photographers on expeditions featuring bird, landscape, and astrophotography. Seraphina studied with Ansel Adams, Imogen Cunningham, and Brett Weston, all local luminaries. Her work has been featured in photography magazines such as Professional Photographer. She has exhibited in the International Photography Hall of Fame, the Polk Gallery, San Francisco Artworks Gallery, Pacific Grove Art Center, Triton Museum of Art, and the Photography Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City. Seraphina has also been honored with 3 Fuji Masterpiece Awards. She's been awarded the Photographer of the Year for 9 consecutive years by Professional Photographers of Monterey Bay, and has operated a successful photography studio for 28 years in Santa Cruz County. She's also a painter, a poet, and philosopher, and a sought-after lecturer. Seraphina promotes continual experimentation, expansion, and education for photographers, and is dedicated to the advancement of photography. She strives to inspire others to pursue their highest ideas, which brings us to tonight's talk. Seraphina has a passion for photographing and exploring the world of birds. This last February, she spent 3 weeks in Costa Rica focusing on photographing exotic, colorful birds. This presentation focuses on what worked and maybe what didn't, and on for her successful trip to the beautiful Central American country of Costa Rica. Please join me in welcoming Seraphina.
I'm really happy to be here to share my trip with you. And it's presented as a travel log. Let me tell you how we did it. In fact, Janet is one of my mates who went. I highly recommend Janet Wave. Design your trip. Figure out what you would like to do. So what type of trip do you want to do? Do you want an adventure trip where you're hiking, going to the beach? I wanted to photograph birds, tropical birds, as many as I could. So what I did was plan and organize the trip myself. They set up the lawn. February, birds are mating, they're nesting, and they are creating wonderful opportunities to photograph birds. So in choosing, we're trying to get the screen to fill in. 5 places, 5 locations in Costa Rica. We did a 450-mile loop trail. Here's the map of Costa Rica. We landed in San Jose, stayed at Arenal Observatory Lodge, did a day trip to the river, Caño Negro. These are birding hotspots. If you do any research, this is where you're going to find a lot of birds. I'm going to continue and show you the 5 locations that we stayed at. Important to consider your equipment. I always work with 2 camera bodies. I use a Nikon mirrorless Z8, batteries. Try to take as little as possible. It's the weight it gains weight as the trip goes on in your equipment, right? Particularly that 400 millimeter fixed lens, it's great. With 2x becomes 800. The 28 to 400 is a great landscape lens and lighter. So that's ideal when you're doing long distance hiking and you're tired and you're sweaty. And a 14 millimeter, just in case we got a clear sky for a Milky Way. It didn't happen. My card shot about 60,000 images over the 3 weeks, and a laptop to download every night with 6 solid state drives to back up. And I like this little tripod chair. I have a little portable chair, pops open, I can sit. And when I sit in the woods or jungle, I'm invisible. And the birds come to me. This is our first location, which is Arenal Observatory Lodge and Trail, a great place to stay. Everything's there. They offer birding tours, night tours. There's miles of hiking, a lot of trails, restaurant. This is one of the trails, R&L Waterfall Trail. And we had a guide who took us to, they know where the birds are. And I had no time to waste. I wanted a guide who knew the area and could point out things. This is the view from our lodge in R&L, Lake R&L. They have observatory towers. This is even a smaller one. At R&L Hummingbird Garden, there are 54 species of hummingbirds in Costa Rica. It's fortunate enough to capture 20 species in different locations, not all at R&L. There were quite a few at R&L. And this is one of my favorite ones, a lesser violet ear. Look at the little epaulets that there's flaring out. They're just white patches of feathers that they tend to show in flight. I'm going to move quickly. There's a lot of images, but what I'm going to do is share with you the images pretty much from that location. And our toucans. We love the Fruit Loop rainbow keel-billed toucan with a berry. And there was another toucan. This is the largest toucan in Costa Rica. It's called a chestnut manabled toucan, or commonly known by the yellow-breasted toucan. They love their berries. A pair doing a little courting in the tree. Another toucan family, the arikari. They're smaller. They're very playful, and there's two species that you'll see in another area. Here's a pair in courting mode, and it's just such a delight to watch these birds as they flirt and mingle and mate. A Montezuma or a pendula in flight. Green honeycreeper, very colorful bird, and a red-legged honeycreeper. It's the red legs. And a shining honeycreeper. As possible to and I pointed out this bird deep in the jungle, and we're looking, going, what? I see a black shape, right? It's very low light, and let's see. I think if you notice at the top, you can't see it. I put the settings. Let's see if I can make this smaller. No, it's not getting any smaller.
See if we grab out of the green frame and drag the green frame up.
Oh, okay. No.
It's too far.
Too far. Can you do it? Okay, so I did list the settings. Now I think you can sort of see the settings, but it zoomed in on the bird. Let's see what happens with the next one. I basically used a high ISO and often a very slow shutter speed. This bird was so exciting for me because of the teardrop tail, two teardrop tails. We had many woodpeckers. This one was a Hoffman's woodpecker, and this is a black-cheeked woodpecker, pie-billed woodpecker, like our pileated here, but it's different. They have so many different breeds of woodpeckers. Here's our common acorn woodpecker, tanagers. I really found out there's so many bright tanagers in Costa Rica. I got 20 different species of tanagers. Crimson
Seraphina. Your cursor arrow is on the bird itself. Somebody was wondering if you could move it off.
Okay. Thank you. We did. Thanks. Sorry. The emerald tanager, bay and blue-headed tanager, blue-gray tanager, and our crested guan, very much like a turkey. They tend to bounce up on the tops of trees, so that made it very easy. On the way back to our lodge in R&L, our driver stopped. He goes, "You want to see an owl?" Yeah. So it's pitch black. He puts a flashlight on an owl that he knows that lives there, and I don't think he can barely see it. 40,000 ISO. I have never shot anything that high. Do you notice what my shutter speed is? 1/25 of a second. And this image turned out, yes, I do use denoise in Photoshop, and I also sometimes boost it up with topaz denoise. But what I discovered on the strip, if you get an exposure, you're going to come out with something. Mm-hmm. But the trick is you have to push that ISO way up. Yes, I have a high-end camera. It's almost a 50 megapixel image. So that helps. The next day we went on a birding tour, and here's our beautiful, very poisonous eyelash pit viper. Beautiful, beautiful rapture. And our guide also pointed this viper out. I don't know exactly what it is. Couldn't even see it. He goes, it's right there. Look, right there, underneath the leaves of the tree. We're looking. I couldn't even see it. It was so camouflaged. I took a photo, then I could see it in the photo. Oh, really? And you gotta move on. There were many coati running around, very cute, like raccoon images, and agouti. They're little animal-like creatures, big, about the size of a squirrel. Not a squirrel, a rabbit. And our first breed of monkeys. We had to see monkeys, huh, Jen? And here we have our spider monkeys with a baby. You see the little baby with the mom. From Arnal, we did a day trip to Caño Negro. And for years, I've been hearing about the beautiful shorebirds on Caño Negro. We have a flock of wood storks in the sky, crocodiles on most of the rivers. And this there's a little bird here. I want you to see if you can see it right there. One of my favorites. I made our photographer bird guide with his boat, private tours. We did private tours, spend a lot of time with this guy. I just fell in love with how the long toes, see those long toes, long nails, and they walk on the lily pads. This is a juvenile. This is the young one. And here's an adult. Look at the wings. Do you see these prompty thing? What are those things?
To do battle.
To do battle. He's ready to do battle. Very hidden. If you've done some bird photography, a rail is always a prize to get because they're deep in the water's edge. And this one decided to do a display for us. Herons. A lot of unique herons. This is a tiger heron. Bare-throated tiger heron because of the yellow underneath its neck. It was raining, so we in a boat. We're protected by the cover of a boat, and it works as a blind. And the cormorant, neotropic cormorant, is shaking, doing a wonderful little dance for us in the rain. Birds in rain make dramatic pictures. It's always really fun either way, and we're kept dry because we're under a boat. Very colorful spoonbill with her spatula bill, white ibis, and a little blue heron. Not a great blue, but a little blue. Tricolored heron with the smaller kingfisher. This is an Amazon kingfisher. And when you have a boat guide, they know how to maneuver the boat around. Says, wait, I'm going to find this spot. You have a better background. Wow. So that was really cool. I mean, it's worth it to get a really good guide if you're into the photography part. And this was a new bird for me, southern lapwing. I've seen him. I never got any pictures, know what they look like with the red eye ring. And this one was fun for me with the raindrops pelting on there. There's a lot of rain, even in the dry season. And we were there supposedly in the dry season. A little flycatcher. And he knew to pull the boat to the special spot. He goes, I have a treat for you. Here is a tropical screech owl. What? Where? And in between the leaves, we got shots of this. Thought he was hidden, right? No, we caught him. And our osprey, they're all over the world. There's lots of osprey in our area. And our second type of monkey, a howler monkey in the tree. And there's a baby. Green iguana. Actually, there is a green one. It's called a green iguana. Moving from Arnal, we crossed Lake Arnal on a boat with all of our luggage, 4 of us, with Sherpas carrying these things down. It was quite a trip. Then we get on a bus across the other side of the lake, and for 3 hours, we are going on treacherous roads back and forth to about 6,000 feet to get to our Monteverde. Monteverde is famous for the cloud rainforest, and this was a find. This was what we went there for. This was splendid quetzal, one of the most beautiful birds in the world, sought after by birders, photographers alike. And the bird is high up in the canopy. Let's see if I can come down and show you the ISO. I don't know if it's going to be visible. There you go. It's 16,000. At least it's not 40,000. And I had to choose a fast shutter speed because, man, if that bird takes off, that is the shot I want to get. There it is. Taking off right underneath me and going forward and then landing. They have about a 3-foot tail. They are, they love avocados. Those are little avocados on the right. So that made my trip. Okay. We got a mott, we got a quetzal, and then all those other wonderful shorebirds. There's another mott, but this is a blue-crowned mott. So motts have these two teardrop tails. Side view of the mott and a headshot. Monteverde has bridges, all different lengths. It was so fun to be on the top of the canopy and have a blue sky. It wasn't raining. The next day it was pouring rain, walking through mud, sloshing through it. I didn't like it. I do not like hiking through mud in the rain with a big camera, but got a picture of the purple-throated mountain gem on her nest through the rain. And a, what is this? A flycatcher, toughing out the rain. Black-banded wood creeper. We have a lot of those little wood creepers, not that type though. Oh, and the guide got so excited the next day. Oh my gosh, it's a Highland moon. And people were gathering around. He took us to a park, not the Monteverde park. He says, that's very, very crowded, a lot of people. He took us to Curicancha. That's where we saw the quetzal. And he goes, this is a tuna moon. You don't understand. You never see them. They hide. It came out. And so I got a picture, not exactly the resplendent quetzal, but he was so excited about it. We had to get a picture. And then our capuchin monkey. So the third breed. Moving on from there, we went to Tarcolis, which is along the coast. This is the Tarcolis Crocodile Bridge. Hundreds stop there and take pictures of the crocodiles. They get a crocodile boat tour to photograph this. The pictures that they get, the crocodile with the mouth big open, and they even feed them chump. Well, we hired Jose's crocodile boat tour and made sure that he would take us to find birds. And we did. Try to get to your locations early in the morning. 6, 5 o'clock, because you will be the first out there on the river, so you're not combating. And we saw scarlet macaws. My target bird was to photograph scarlet macaws in the wild. And they showed up on the Tarcolis River. And these are all from the boat. This one is taking off right in front of us. And we even got to go to a magnificent frigate bird rookery. These are probably at least 50 birds all nested in here. Why? Because the males are showing off their gular pouches to attract a female. That's what this is all about. Breeding, mating, and if you're a girl, you want to choose the one with the biggest red sac. That means best breeding. Another anahinga, neotropic, and this is a yellow crown right here. I've seen black crown, maybe some of you probably have, but never a yellow. I thought, okay, that's pretty cool with an egret behind, kind of showing size comparison. And I don't know what this bird's doing. Either it's choking, coughing, or yelling, but it was really a cool shot. And there's the same bird. You wouldn't recognize it, right? Completely different look. That's why it's, even if you photograph a bird 100 times, you never know what they're going to do for you. You get a different, different expression. And this is the bare-throated night heron. Once again, and the bird came right up to the boat. We got a headshot right there, right? And it really did a display for us. The same bird with this guttural throat, this is called a bare-throated, and flared out its feathers. Well, they're trying to attract a female. Another tiger heron. This is the fasciated tiger heron. Totally different look, right? Totally different. And a green heron. We have those here, tricolored, smaller. I'm going to move quickly. I'll probably be running out of time soon. Tricolored heron, taking off. And who is this? You might recognize this bird, very common here, the great blue. And our great egret, which we see a lot, but this is the great egret. Where is it? Where are we? Where are we? Costa Rica. Yes, with Cara National Park behind us. So that's special. You know, I don't know how many thousand pictures of egrets you have, but you don't have one in Costa Rica. You know, there's our preening spoonbill, and this is a reddish egret. It's an egret, right? You would never think that that actually is an egret. Just like we have here, black-necked stilts, semi-palmated plover, whimbrel. This is like our red-tailed hawk. They're a little common black hawk, but osprey. I'll have to document the osprey.
Can you go back to the Black Hawk?
You want to go back to Black Hawk? Yeah.
It almost looks like those are cloned. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Here's a story. It's going to take more time. So we're in the boat, right? I mean, there are a lot of stories with this. And the guy whistles. He whistles. And here come the Black Hawks, two of them. And they actually fly there in front on the rock next to the shore. And it was like, okay, but we got the shot. But what was really cool was that this guy was in the distance. So that was really cool. Yellow-headed, what is it? Cara, right, in flight. And then a crested cara, very different with the red. Parrots, a lot of parrots all over the place. And they can be harder to find if they're not in the open. Next day, we went to Cara National Park. And the guy took us to unknown secret trail. We had to drive past the entrance of the park. He goes, there was hardly anybody on that trail. He says, you go into the park, there are going to be lines of people. And we got this bird, rufous-tailed Jacamar, fast ISO, once again, and shutter speed. A lot of times I'll use slow shutter speed just to get the exposure. And if it takes off, well, I've lost. But you're playing a dance with your camera. It's like you're playing an instrument. I work in manual mode, and this one was 16,000. It was so dark, so far away. And the antbird. How many of you have ever heard of an antbird? Maybe you have. You've traveled to Costa Rica. What do you think it eats? Ants, right? And they're two different kinds. So, no, this is the same bird. It's not. This one does not have a white chest. I mean, they're tricky. I really spent a lot of time IDing these birds. Let me tell you, like, what is that? And another tanager, and our guide was really happy. He goes, look, a puffbird. I go, what? A puffbird. Okay. Now, this was the find in Carrara. This was the find. It's called a long-billed hermit. He goes, they're very shy. They don't come out, and it's called hermit for a reason. So this bird, notice the tail, long tail, very long beak. It flew within photographic range to us and proceeds to stretch its tail. This doesn't look like a bird, right? It's just like, what is that? There it is. We stayed at Selva Calor Forest Eco Lodge, and great apartment. We had a swimming pool, jacuzzi, big living room, full kitchen, and a deck. But best of all, didn't know this, it was a scarlet macaw sanctuary. It was not listed when you book it. And the scarlet macaws were flying right in front of us, doing their little courting. Scarlet macaws mate for life. They're very affectionate. And here's bringing her a treat, a flower, a white flower. This shot was a lucky shot because it's at 1/400th of a shutter speed with a telephoto lens. It's hard for me to use a tripod, and I do not use flash, but it turned out miraculously. And it was rather low light again, but it is kind of, lit up. Now they are courting, and they like to be shy and play games. So she's being really coy. Look at this. She's pulling her wing up. Gives her a little kiss on the neck. Now they're proceeding to mate. I don't know if you've probably seen birds mate. Birds, it's called a colloquial kiss, where both genitals touch, and then it's 1, 2, 3, couple seconds, it's over. Not with macaws. They went on for minutes, right, Janet? Janet did a video. I did about 600 stills. And really, it went on for about 4 or 5 minutes. I looked at the beginning to the end. It's pretty amazing. So if you ever get a scarlet macaw, they're endangered, you have to get a pair because they're very affectionate. And this is a picture of the nesting box. You see it way up in the tree, that round bucket? They built that there. And the birds tend to it. They build their nest in it. There they both are. They also build nests in tree. So this one is chipping away at the tree to make a nest in that cavity. I looked up the symbolic meaning of birds, which is really interesting, that macaws are symbolic for enduring bonds and vibrant life. This gave us an opportunity to photograph them overhead. And was this hard? You're pointed straight up with the camera like this as they're going right over you. But it was so fun capturing these overhead shots as they come in and make a landing. From Tarcolis, we went to a very crowded, I didn't really want to go, but my husband wanted to visit Manuel Antonio. He goes, oh, it's famous. It's beautiful beaches. We didn't spend time on the beach, but we did go there. There is a national park, and you do have shorebirds like a willet. We have willets here. This is where we stayed, Tres Banderas, and it's very, very hot. And this turned out to be a great spot, the best meals, gourmet food at night. And our guide at Manuel Antonio, he took us on a loop trail from here down around this peninsula. There's the merry band of Costa Rican travelers. I took this shot, and this made that whole trip worth it. A great potu. Anybody see a potu? It looks like a stick. Janet has. There it is. From a distance, it looks like a piece of dead wood, and it's motionless. It stays like that. It doesn't move. The guy pointed it out with a scope, and we were able to get pictures. So it made that whole trip for me very, very worthwhile. And this is the Jesus Christ lizard that run across water. You can see videos of those. Another rail. And, our sloth. We had to get some pictures of sloths in the wild. You can go to a lot of places where sloths are in captivity. It's like a park and you see them, but this is in the wild, and they're two different breeds. There's a two-toed and a three-toed. This one is a two-toed. And from our hotel, Tres Banderas, we got the fourth kind, the smallest monkey endemic to Costa Rica, a squirrel monkey. Just so adorable. They were jumping around all over the place. And there's more howler monkeys. And look what else we got from our balcony at Tres Banderas after traipsing all over Costa Rica to find one. This is a three-toed sloth. And let me tell you about the three-toed sloth. The sloth fur hosts a miniature symbiotic ecosystem. It has 100 different unique species of moths and beetles. Maybe you notice this little thing on the top of the head. That's like a moth. And there are hundreds of them buried into its fur. And the moths lay eggs in the sloth feces, comes down once a week to poop. And then the moths, they eat the dung, and then they become more moths. Now, the relationship is crucial for the sloth survival, providing nutrition and camouflage within the forest, and also an extra meal from the algae on its fur. That's something it's so amazing. And they move fairly quickly when they want to. A very renowned guy, Oscar, I think you even had him in Costa Rica, Oscar Herrera, took us outside of Manuel Antonio to this park, Esquipulas Rainforest. It had a little building with an awning that protected us from the rain. And in that area, we got pygmy owl, yellow-throated aphonia, and looks similar, but it's not. It's different. This one, is a yellow crown. Really had me fooled because this is the yellow throat. Yeah, they look exactly alike, I'll tell you. Anyway, the golden nape woodpecker, and we have a great-tailed grackle. Now, this is my favorite. So I have a lot of pictures to show you of the fiery-billed aracati. It's a smaller bird from the toucan family, and it has a very fiery colored bill. Who could resist this red eyeliner, right? A lot of bling, a lot of bling. And they are just so fun to watch. They're characters. They jump back and forth. They are having a ball out there. It is really, and okay, so they have feeders out, bananas. Birds love bananas. And they're flying back and forth to the feeders. And this was an unusual shot. You see this creature that this aracari has in its beak? It's like a big moth or butterfly. I don't know what it is. Bat? I don't know what it is. It's pretty big. So this guy slowly, there's a sequence, creeps from here to here. Then the next thing he's there. And I just edited it down to that shot. He tried to snap it out. Nope, that's mine. That's my bug, my meal. So the other one decides it's gonna take a banana and fly off. Here's our chestnut mandiblid toucan with a big raindrop gathered on the end in the rain. And once again, they're very affectionate, courting. Hiking into the forest, we came across a king vulture. King vultures, very odd looking, strange creatures. But beautiful. Look at the white and all the colors in its wings. Just magnificent.
Does look like a king.
Does, doesn't he? He looks like a king. Yeah.
Sure.
Exactly. And then our turkey vulture decides to join him. They even have a black vulture. So you have black turkey and then the king vulture. This is the blue Dasnus, bright turquoise blue with black markings. And there's the female. I think she's very pretty with that beautiful green, lime green, yellow, and blue on her head. Usually the males are more colorful than the females in birds. You know why? Because the females have to lay eggs and be more disguised and hidden. And by the nest, they don't want to draw attention. They let the males do that. This one, a banana quit. Well, it was sucking like a hummingbird. It sucks up a nectar from flowers. And we have the seed eater that chomps away on seeds with its big beak. More tanagers. I'll show you a variety of tanagers. This is a blue-gray tanager, a scarlet rump tanager, Baltimore oriole. They're actually around the same family. Sherry's tanager, a shot with 3 birds fighting over the banana, like there's not enough banana for all of you guys. Really? And that's the tanager. You have this one, there's a summer tanager. This one, what is it? Sherry's again with the red rump. And in the sky, a Symphonia. I thought this was cute. Little warbler hopping around, managed to catch it. Little warbler, flight, and a roadside hawk. It's photographed on the side of a road. Broadside hawk, chakalaka, chakalaka, chakalaka. Moving from Manuel Antonio, then right, that's Manuel Antonio. It was very hot, very hot. I was so miserable. But we got to the mountains now to go to San Geraldo de Dota. Some of you may have been there. This is, can you get up, way up in the mountains, 9,000 feet. And this is the Sevigre Valley, known as the home of many, many resplendent quetzals. So we had to go to photograph a quetzal there. We stayed at I don't know, it was considered, quote, a high-end resort. This is called Dantica Forest Cloud Rainforest Eco Lodge. And it was very nice. They said it's a third of a mile to get to your bungalow, but what they didn't tell us was that it was up and down hills with these big stone blocks. It took me minutes to get there. And in the morning at 4:00 in the dark, in the rain, it was, see if I can, it was tedious. It was torturous. My husband hated it, but the rooms were nice. Beautiful view. You're right at the, canopy view. You wake up in the morning, you have a view of the trees, but there were no birds out there. They didn't put feeders there. And we had to go out to find the birds, which we did. And this is the reason we're there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people are in this area in February to find this bird. I don't know if you can read the bottom where it was taken. Monte Verde. Thank God I got pictures there, because this is what we ran into at 5 a.m. at this one location. Van loads of people were unloading. This is just the beginning. And our tour guide took us down the roadway. He said, I know an opening. I will fly. So it's raining and it's wet, very wet, to get this, right? To photograph a quetzal nesting in a tree. And so we got a few shots, but again, not as nice of an experience like we did in Monte Verde, because here we're in rain, it's wet, it's very early, hundreds, I don't know, so many people. But it was worth it, to be there to see that. And then Janet, she signed up with another tour. I had it at that point. It took her way up in the mountains, and she got some great pictures. We had to do a lot of trekking, I think, right, Janet? To get there. I was not in no shape at that point to do anything. This is the end of our trip. Slaty flower piercer. Notice that beak. Very unique beak. It's like a needle. It's called a flower piercer. So this area had 10, 12 different varieties of hummingbirds. This is a white-throated hummingbird, mountain gem, white-throated mountain gem. I'm going to move. We're running out of time. This is a female. Same bird, but it's a female. And Talamanca hummingbird, endemic to this area. That mountain range is called the Talamanca Mountain Range. Violet head with this beautiful turquoise neck. Gorget. They're very territorial. And there are feeders around, so the birds are buzzing around and fighting over, the food and feeder. So this is the violet ear. Notice now, this is the purple patch, but it's a different image of capture. So you have the green crown brilliant. Here's another green crown brilliant. And our violet ear. What I really liked about this, it really showed the undercolor of the tail. Okay, there it is again. And a smaller, really smaller hummingbird, one of the smallest volcano hummingbird. And a scintillant hummingbird. It kind of looks like our Allen's, but it's called a scintillant. Took me so long to figure out what that bird was. And this is the hummingbird. It's called a violet sabruing, with the beautiful white patches on its undertail. Snowy-bellied hummingbird. I got 20 different species of hummingbird. Now, this is the favorite. It's not easy. Yeah, I know. It's not easy.
Fast.
They're very, very fast. And this, the arrow. Oh, the arrow. Thank you. So this one it's far away, and there's a great place called Miriam's Quetzal Restaurant. She puts feeders out, and this bird was known to come and visit. So very lucky to get pictures of the fiery-throated hummingbird getting its meal. He's capturing bugs. More fighting over food, and a striped-tailed hummingbird. Another hummingbird. This one's called a white-necked Jacobin. More tanagers. I like this because there's two species. On the right, you have a red-legged honey creeper and the silver-throated tanager. Summer tanagers. Now, this is tricky. This is a female. You've probably seen tanagers. This is the male. And look at this one. That kind of looks same, right? But it's not. It's very different. That's a flame-colored tanager. Look at the wings. Black with the white barring. This is kind of lightish gray with yellow. But they look same, right? Took me a while to figure that out as I'm researching through IDing these birds. And a scarlet rump tanager. This is a palm tanager. And a spangled cheek tanager with a lovely berry. common bush tanager. We have a bird that looks very similar to this, sparrows, but this is called a rufous-collared sparrow, and the very exotic long-tailed silky flycatcher. This is a male, female. There's the female again showing off her beautiful crest, and a very small toucan, the little northern emerald toucanet. It's a toucanet. And our guide stopped in the middle of the road. He goes, "You want to see a toucanet?" Yeah. So we jumped out in the rain, and this bird is actually supplying berries to a nest right to the right. The last bird I'm sharing with you is the national bird of Costa Rica, the clay-colored thrush. It looks like our very common color, but the Costa Ricans chose this bird as their national symbol because of its cheerful song. Have any of you ever heard a thrush? They're just very, very melodic, and it's the start of the rainy season for them. So this is a significant event for the country farmer and a symbol of renewal. And it represents a natural spirit of Costa Rica. You've probably heard pura vida, which is a phrase that embodies Costa Rica's very way of life. This shows you our 450-mile loop, and I'm ending with a few tips and lessons learned. Set goals, be flexible. Janet was really great in putting up a Google document that day by day, item by item, all the names of the hotels, the phone numbers, the guides, the tours we're going to do, because we did it all ourselves. And it's nice to travel with somebody. You can split the costs, book flights in advance, do it direct rather than through a guide. Photo equipment, bring what you need, what you're really comfortable with using. You don't really need that much. And then it gets very heavy. That equipment just gains weight at the end of the trip. It's just, forests are very dark. You're photographing under low light conditions. I did not use flash. I brought one. I didn't use a tripod. I thought it'd be great to have that, when you're at a feeding station. I like the mobility of being able to move. Optional, I like to bring a little food for snack. You get back from your tour, you're starving. It's nice to have something. I carried my passport. Get early to your locations, as early as you can. You're going to avoid the crowds, and the birds like to be out early. Be prepared for weather, heat, humidity, cold, wind. Monteverde is very windy. I learned lesson that the fanciest hotel was really the one that was only available, the Dantica. It was, I loved it. It was beautiful, but so hard. 2 times a day getting back and forth was quite tedious. Be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and it's okay to not do everything planned, unless you've paid hundreds of dollars for a tour the next day that you can't cancel. And remember, when traveling and photographing, it's about the journey. It's about the journey, not necessarily the destination. That's like the frosting on the cake. It's about the adventure, getting out of your comfort zone, enjoy and look for beauty. If photographing, be unattached to the results. This is really hard. Be unattached to the result. Why? If you're attached to the result, you're going to be so uptense and freaked out if something's not working. One needs to be flexible. Photograph like crazy and imagine that that's your last image you'll ever take. Remember when you had film, 1 frame left, right? And avoid living through the camera lens, right? And enjoy where you are. Have fun, enjoy the ride, and take a lot of images. Travel if you can. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Which part was that last one?
The which?
The last one was.
Oh, yeah, that one was, yeah, that was quite a part. Yeah, I love experimenting, creating different images with birds.
What do you use for identification of the birds?
Good question. So my trusty, this I use.
That's a book.
A book. Okay, I know there are apps. I have it. I just don't use it where you don't have time, to put it up by the bird or put a call out. You're really limited with time. Like here, I can go back to natural bridges and get the warblers, get the owls. or go, but there you're going, you're just shooting as fast as you can, as much as you can. And so I'm struggling to get the exposure. And the beautiful thing about a mirrorless camera is that you see when you look through the viewfinder. Oh, okay. And I work manual. Everything's completely manual except for the focus. Okay.
So that you do a lot of your identification in the evening of some of the birds you didn't see or after the trip?
A little bit of both. And you can get your guide to give you an eBird list, which I kind of lost. Maybe Janet has it somewhere. You know, he would send a WhatsApp. Familiar with WhatsApp? That's a really good way to communicate with people. And you're so tired, you know, at night you just have to drag your stuff back to the room, download, and then you're entranced by the images you got. And then you delete the stuff that doesn't work. So for most part, you kind of remember some of the names that they tell you. What? And so you go back, you know, and it's taken me months to go through all of them. This is really good. And then I found this, and these are all through eBay. These are actual library books that they put up for sale, $5-6. And another good tip to ID birds. I really got stumped a couple of times. There's Birds of Costa Rica on Facebook. Anybody join to that? So you put it, please, and a lot of people do that. ID help. And it was great because one bird, they were totally stumped. I got 5 different names for a hummingbird. They go, you were not in Costa Rica. You were in Argentina. That bird was only found in Argentina. I thought, ooh, it's a rare bird. I voted. No, somebody figured it out.
You use auto ISO because you say you shoot manual, but we do use
Manual ISO. Manual. Okay. I am playing that camera like an instrument. The only thing that's auto is continuous shooting. I do 15 frames per second. And it's autofocus, right? Spot focus. A lot of times, or wide. It's very difficult in the jungle. You got branches, trees, leaves, everything in the way. So you're like this. You got to know your dial. Okay, I've got the ISO. It's dark. Oh, how high up can I go? What's the least high? Okay, 20,000, right? And then it's still dark. Okay, how slow can I hold that lens? Right? And you know, you're taking 15 frames per second. A couple of them are going to be sharp. If that bird takes off, well, at least I got a shot of it. Right? And you don't have time, you know, and then the guide wants to move you on to the next spot. But since I only do private tours, I did private tours. Group tours are great though, but I don't want to be committed, and I walk slow, and I have my cane chair, and I like to sit and look at the bird. You know, if I only see so many birds, that's fine.
You saw a lot of birds.
Oh yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. I have a list. About 150 different birds. So they are. I try to document them. And 20. That's great. It's pretty good. And 20 species of hummingbirds, 20 tanagers, 2 motmots, the quetzal. These are pretty rare birds, and a lot of things I didn't even know existed. An antbird. Who ever thought of a large-footed finch? I didn't show you a picture of that. I didn't know what that was either. I got birding Costa Rica the idea. Question? Pardon? How do I carry the camera? Okay. Yeah, okay. For one thing, you know, I've been doing this many years. Look at these hands. They're so arthritic. I used rock tape. I support my fingers with rock tape. Anybody use kino tape?
Yeah.
Kinesiology tape, right?
Yeah.
So I put it around my wrists and my finger, and I use a brace. So my hands, and it's flexible. And the lens is about this big, right? This big. And so I also was taught to never carry a big lens pointed down. You know why?
Strains the body connection.
It wears out the connection to the camera. Because here's the lens, and you're walking, right? All this is jerking the camera lens down. So I carry it like a baby. So here's the lens, and this is the camera. Here's my camera. I have good upper body. So the camera's like this, I have my, what is it, my cane chair, binoculars around the neck, cell phone around the neck. And when I get really, really tired, I get the guide to carry it. He was very nice. Question.
I just stumbled on your talk, and luckily, my niece is actually a hummingbird expert with U.S. Fish and Wildlife and UC Davis.
Oh, fabulous.
So what accounts for the diversity of hummingbirds and just birds in general in Costa Rica?
Good question. Great. Costa Rica is close to the border. In fact, at Monteverde, you can go on a hike and you're right at the Continental Divide. So you have north and south meeting together. And there's 900 species of birds that have been documented.
North and south what?
America, North America, South America, they kind of meet. Right there is the Continental Divide. In Monteverde, you go to Monteverde Cloud Rainforest, you can hike, didn't do that hike, up, and get to a lookout. And it's usually clouded over. Tip. There's the Continental Divide. What? It's all white.
Piece of that. You also have a mountain range separating the Atlantic from the Pacific,
Uh-huh.
right? And then you've got the vertical canopy, right? So each of these is a micro niche. So it's an explosion of diversity. Absolutely. I took students to do research there for many years.
Which part? Did you go down south?
The Nicoya Peninsula, which is
Cote d'Ivoire? No.
it's up north,
North.
like Lake Nicaragua, and then
So you've been on Canyon, bro?
oh yeah,
Yeah. Question.
My explanation for what was just asked when we were there is it was the Ice Age that concentrated all this together right in that point in the world from the south and the north. The ice just forced them together
From the south and the north.
when it disappeared in the main in that specific
There's a great abundance of animals. There's jaguars, insects galore, reptiles, snakes, frogs. Did not even delve into that world. Just what came across on the trails.
Perhaps one more question?
At 15 frames a second, how many frames do you shoot a day?
Pardon? Oh, how many birds shoot a day?
Frames.
Oh, frames. Probably 5,000 to 6,000.
From that, you had to sort it down.
I downloaded all of it. It was all saved. And then I would make another copy and I would delete a lot that was just, bad or out of focus. But my style, I tend to save everything. Everything. When I went back 3 months later and I'm re-looking at every frame, oh my God, look at that rare bird. Wow. I didn't even see that because it's just this little yellow dot hidden in the forest. Zoom in, zoom in, right? You've all had that, where there's some image that you didn't pay any attention to because you're enamored by the quetzal, right? All the quetzal, this and that, the bright colors. So I would delete everything, that a lot, to try to free up, but I took 240 gigabyte SQD cards. So I had a lot of memory every day. And I cleaned it up every day. So every day I had 6 cards. I never used 6 cards every day.
Well, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.